how many meetings did I get? And then don't just abandon the process because you reached out to 100 people and nobody like took a meeting with you.
Yeah.
Tweak your process. Focus on the messaging, because again, you can control quality, quantity, consistency. Focus on the things you can control. And if you agree that this is a great process, it will pay off over time.
I totally agree with that, Carson, right? That, you somehow, when you start doing social selling, I mean, the effects aren't linear, right? You can't see an instant gratification all the time. For example, when you send the email, you know how many emails have been delivered, how many of them have been opened, and how many of them you have gotten a reply to, right? But here, this is not something like that, right? You might be writing a content that's very useful for your target audience, but you don't know if you're going to get someone from that content piece and the time that you have invested in, right? So this is totally not linear, right? In a salesperson's mindset, this will always be a concern, right? On how do they divide their time between social selling and the other things that they have to do, right? And no matter how much we tell them to not think about the results, but the mind is calculative, it will always think about the ROI, right? How do you suggest people go about that? I do understand that it can't be measured and it should not be overthinked, but do you think that there is some metric to it, something that can measure the impact of social selling and tell us that, okay, this is the effort I'm investing, this is what I should expect? Anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm realistic about this. So I knew very early on that I needed to show dollar signs. I'm in sales. I needed to show dollar signs to be able to indicate, hey, this is working. So it was after the first multi-million-dollar deal that came as a direct result of meeting somebody on LinkedIn where, hey, there's a great story here, right? But you can't also be a flash in the pan. You've got to deliver results over time.
True.
I can look back in my career and I think I'm up to about 15 deals that originated on LinkedIn that would not have happened without social, that total hundreds of millions of dollars at this point. So, that for me is a great story to say, look, obviously social works. But the key thing for you, like when you're starting out, is, boil it down to what you can track and what you can control. I can control these elements of how many messages that I send. So like focus on the process and fine tuning the process, getting meetings, where does that meeting go? And then tracking some of these things over time as well, right? Like, if I'm connected to somebody for 3 years and, they finally start showing up to like these webinars that I'm doing, and then lo and behold, I get a meeting, and then lo and behold, like we're talking about some great things. I'm bringing in my team, we're planning the possibility of doing something together. And then, we get those milestones in place for a deal, and